In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there's no God but God, and God is the only one who has the right to be worshipped. I also bear witness that Prophet Moses, Prophet Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them, are the messengers of God, and I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. So greetings of peace, and thanks for tuning in. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. So in this video, we're going to be looking at some of the supernatural events that Allah has blessed me in this life. As Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he had the ascension journey and other miraculous events that occurred in his life that he talked about, and it's even in the Quran in chapter 17 of his ascension journey. Um, so it is sunnah to talk about some of the supernatural things that happened in his life. So I'm going to be sharing some of my supernatural events that Allah has blessed me with in this life. So I'm going to be describing maybe 3 or 4 depending how long this video goes. So the first one is going to be an out-of-body experience that I had. I think I was roughly around 19 to 20 years old. At that point, when I was about 17 years old, I was just doing a lot of research into spiritual stuff, all different. I was reading up on out of body experiences, I was reading up on all different types of things in the New Age and spiritual stuff of all sorts. So I was just thirsty to know what this reality was. I believe from observing the life cycle of life and death within this world that there has to be, and intuitively I knew there had to be something beyond this world, there had to be a hereafter. So I read a lot of books on astral projection, out of body experiences, near death experiences, all sorts of different stuff relating to that. All sorts of plethora of stuff that I researched earlier in my life. And so there was one day where I was talking with another person about it, and at that time I was about 19 to 20 years old, and I'd recently finished high school, and I had a part-time job delivering newspapers early in the morning, so I get up around 4 a.m. In the morning, finish my route, and be back in bed around a little after 6 a.m. and take a little cat nap before I continue on with the rest of my day. So that day was no exception. I did the paper route. Got up around 4 a.m., did the route, got home around 6, and then took a little cat nap. And about 45 minutes into my sleep, I was in and out of. I remember I was kind of half asleep, half awake, and then all of a sudden I felt, and I had this burning desire to know the hereafter. The night the night before, I was talking to somebody for a couple hours about astral projection, and Allah blessed me with an experience. So while I was sleeping, it was approximately about 6:45 or 6:49 a.m. in the morning, and I was in a state between waking and sleeping, and I felt like a giant vacuum cleaner was sucking me up into the sky. I felt like this vacuum was just sucking me up, and then I was half asleep, so I was somewhat calm at first, and then I felt like I was hundreds of feet in the air. Something was just sucking me into the sky. Um, and then once I tried to grab something with my hands, or thinking it was my hands, I opened my eyes and boom, I was out of my body, and all the pains, I couldn't feel any pain. I couldn't feel hot or cold. Um, my vision in this physical form is not the best. I have to have glasses to see from a far distance, but my vision out of my body was so amazing, so crisp, so clear, so perfect. It was amazing to see to see everything so perfectly. It's like this world has a lower resolution compared to in the hereafter. There's a great jump in resolution in the hereafter. So things were I could see things so clear. My mind was going so fast. It was accelerating exponentially. My mind was being downloaded with information, and I felt like given enough time, I would have the knowledge of all the universe uh, downloaded into my consciousness. I almost felt like a my consciousness felt like the consciousness that's up in here that was out of my body was accelerating, and it felt like a supercomputer. And I only got to stay out of my body for maybe, I don't know, a minute, maybe 2 minutes, observing my surroundings, getting that accelerating. I could feel the presence of Allah stronger popped out of my body. Um, One of the things I realized is that Allah did not care for this world too much, that there was so much more to existence than this reality. This reality is sort of a training ground or a testing place for the soul, a learning place for the soul, for the requirements of truth and wisdom, as Allah says in the Quran, and for perfecting light, as Allah says in another verse in the Quran. So. So I had that accelerating. My consciousness was just accelerating. There was no like I said, there was no pain. There was no hot or cold. I felt totally at peace, calmness, and my consciousness was just accelerating. Like it was just being constantly downloaded, um, information being consistently and accelerating exponentially in my consciousness. And then there was a chip truck that sold poutines and French fries. I know down the road at the place where I was living at the time, and it makes this silly noise to attract attention, and I could hear it making that noise. And as soon as I heard that noise, I was snapped right back into my body instantly. I could feel all the aches and pains in my body. My vision became blurry again from a distance, and that was a very interesting experience. I've never really attempted to try to astral project again after that or research so much. Once I had the experience, I realized that I had a lot of work to do in this world, even to get to that state where I got to, even for a couple of minutes that I was popped out of this body. Um, so I knew at a young age, for a fact, that the hereafter existed before I even knew anything about the Quran or Islam or uh, things of that nature. And I also believed it because of all the near-death experiences and things like that, and all the research that I did. That I knew that there weren't all these volumes of information out there that's that wasn't real. Um, so from that experience, I'm just trying to evolve my consciousness to that level where I was popped out of the body to perfect Allah's light, our souls. Um, so I had another experience where I was, I think, 11 years old, and I was with my parents and my family at a cottage out in the woods, and there was a nice lake there that had some, bass, pike, and perch and stuff like that in the lake. So I decided to go fishing by myself, and I wanted to go in the water, but I was kind of afraid to go in the water. I didn't want to go with my shoes; it was gonna, stink my shoes and my socks. So I decided, okay, well, I remember telling myself as an 11-year-old that whoever created all this will protect me, just in case something bites my foot or a crawfish, something attacks my foot or something. I was kind of a little bit afraid, but then I told myself, well, whoever created all this will protect me from that or whatever. So when I walked into the water, about up to where my shorts were, I started casting my line out, and all of a sudden I felt a heightened consciousness came over me, and I remember feeling one with everything. My consciousness was one with all the consciousness around me, with the trees, with the water, with the fish. I could feel the fish. I could feel the mountains. I could feel the trees. I could feel all the elements of consciousness around me. And I remember the sun came down so close to me that it was about the sun. I don't know how physically this happened, but the sun came down to me, and I could feel the presence of the sun, like literally, like a foot away from my physical body. That I could feel the power of the consciousness of the sun was so powerful, so like strong. And I didn't look at the sun directly. I kind of lowered my gaze to the sun, just feeling its power. And maybe this was a test from Allah that would tested me from the power of the sun. Um, that Allah would protect me um, as I said when before I entered the water, that whoever created all this will protect me. So I still felt that protection from Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. I felt the power of the sun came so close to me, basically a foot away. I could have reached out and touched it, and the sun. Um, it's hard to explain. It was like right against me, and then it slowly drifted off after about maybe 30-40 seconds or so. And I still felt that connection with everything. And then I could feel a fish that was just about to bite my line, and I felt the fish was ready to uh, bite the line. I felt connected with the consciousness of the fish. I could feel it just about to hit my line. Then it hit my line. It was a small fish, and the hook that was in the fish, it did like zero. Was amazing. It did zero damage to the fish. The hook came out just like a thread. Like it didn't even harm the fish. Um, and I could feel the fish was so happy. It was so like spunky and things like that. And I put the fish back into the water, and slowly after that, my consciousness sort of came back down, and it was a very beautiful experience. Um, I had another experience where um, after I do my daily prayers, I usually meditate for a few minutes to 20-30 minutes, depending, after my prayers sometimes. And I was doing this consistently about a year or two ago. And so after my prayer, I just sat down and I just relaxed and calmed my mind. And then I had a amazing visual experience within my own consciousness, my own mind. It was like a TV image, but not only could I see visually, I could feel everything. It's like watching TV, but you could feel all the things going on in that environment. You could feel the energies. You could feel um, the what was going on in that environment. So I had a vision of me as a giant, like we know it as a giant beast. Like I was this like a Loch Ness monster, like a sea creature with a long neck, a wide body, and I couldn't see since only my head was out of the water. My long neck was out of the water, and we were swimming in a V formation with other, Loch Ness monster looking sea creatures swimming so smoothly through the water. I could feel the elegance and the harmony of swimming so effortlessly. It was like no energy for me to um, flow through the water, like flowing through the water, like so gracefully, so in harmony. And I felt so much power. And when I was observing this, I could feel the creature. I could feel it flowing through the water. I could see the other. There were another four. these sea creatures behind me. I was leading the pack, and there was four other ones in a V formation, and we were swimming through, I guess, the ocean, um, so elegantly, and I felt so much power. And when I felt into the creature, I could feel my consciousness, that what's in within me, that the my signature, my energy signature, was within that sea creature, and I felt so much power, so fierce, so strong, um, but flowing so elegantly through the water. And then it's after that it switched to another, like changing a television screen, television channel on your TV. I could see uh, me as a another, like an alien, an intelligent alien, that was a cross between a human and a bear. I was very stocky. I seemed look very like thick and strong, very furry, like the color of a grizzly bear, more light brown. Um, but I didn't have a long snout, like a long nose, like a regular traditional bear. It was a more, I didn't have so much hair in my, like the face of me, but I was more hairy everywhere else, like a thick grizzly hair on the rest of my body. I had some clothes on, just a little bit of clothing, and I was flying in a spaceship, solo, sitting with, no seatbelt in the middle. I was just sitting in the middle of the spaceship, and I could see everything outside the spaceship. And I felt very highly spiritual. I felt connected. I felt connected with the entire universe. We were like, the consciousness was connected in the oneness of everything, and I felt connected with everything around me, with the vehicle, the spaceship that I was traveling in. It wasn't a big spaceship, but it was like a saucer-shaped ship. I could see outside. I was sitting in the middle. I didn't see any controls. It seemed that I was possibly controlling the ship mentally. Um, and the really unique thing was that, I felt that I was one with everything, and that I felt very highly spiritually advanced. Um, and So another experience that I had was very interesting, where I saw the future. This was another time where I was in between sleeping and waking state. I was laying in bed, and I was living in the home of my parents, and in that situation, it was like I was half asleep, half awake, and then I could see like this projection, this TV that just appeared in front of me. And uh, baby, can you just give me a second? I'm just making a video. Just give me a second. It's okay. So it's okay. Um, so so in the dream, it wasn't a dream. It was in waking state, but I was still half asleep, and it was like a TV screen that appeared in front of me, and it was like my whole life flashing in front of me in a little TV screen, images, and I could see them like pictures, like going so fast. Now, the farther in the future, the faster the speed was going, and the closer to the time that in my present time, the frames kept slowing and slowing and slowing down. So the stuff in the far future, it was going so fast that I couldn't make out anything. The frames were going too fast for me to make out anything. But as it started getting closer to my present time frame, um, I could see certain clips of what was going to happen. So I saw a conversation with my mother in one of the clips. And then later that day, about a couple hours after I got up, um, word for word, action for action, the exact same thing occurred uh, in that little clip that I saw. It was about maybe a 15-second clip that I saw, and even the things that I did, and the things that my mother said to me were exactly verbatim, word for word, action for action that I saw in those clips. So I found that very interesting. So those are just some of the experiences that I've had uh, as some of the gifts that Allah has given me in this life. So I just wanted to share it with all you, as it is Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, to share some of the supernatural things that Allah has blessed us with in this life. And if you believe or not believe, it doesn't matter to me. You'll know on the day of judgment that I was speaking the truth. Um, and if I have other supernatural uh, things that go on in my life, I will make a video and let you guys know what happened. But those are some of the things that I guess Allah wanted to show me in my life, to know that certain truths about reality, that there's more to us than just this one life. There's more to us in the hereafter. Um, there's Allah knows the past, present, and future. Um, there's a lot to life that's still to be known with. Even Allah says in the Quran that He gave very little knowledge about the soul, and He gave very little in Revelation as well. Um, that there's a lot more for us to know and understand, and there's a lot more of an existence after this world that is greater, much greater than this world. So those are some of the takeaways from those, and very important to be good to one another, to give charity, to believe in the oneness of Allah, the creator of all that exists, that He has power over all things, and He has perfect control of everything. He knows our past, present, and future. Um, so, very important to know that, Allah says, if you're going to say anything, say God willing, that, it is Allah that, has the ability to do all things. He's the one who's manifesting the creation, and He's the one who originated the creation and reproducing it at every moment, as Allah states in the Quran. So, it's sort of like a film, this reality. It's Allah's recreating the reality. I don't know how fast, but say trillions of times per second. I don't know how exactly how fast Allah is reproducing the creation, and He does this so He can either reward us or punish us, depending on our actions. So Allah can change reality in any given moment. Like I said, through the law of cause and effect. So those are some of the interesting things that Allah has shown me in this life, and I just like to share it with all of you, that may help you understand this reality a little bit better. So I hope you take Allah as your shield. I hope you maintain a law of harmony and balance, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. Thank you so much. Take care. Peace.